Yo, I just saw you started recording. So Miranda, are we otherwise ready to go with this evening's meeting?
Yes, we are.
All right, very good. Then welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, December 1st, and we'll call to order this meeting of the Nederland Board of Trustees. Would you please call the roll?
Mayor Larson.
Here.
Trustee Taylor.
Here.
Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Here.
Trustee Danforth. Trustee Danforth. Okay, I'll come back. Trustee Corbelin.
Here.
And it's Trustee Danforth there.
Oh, here. Yeah, I'm having audio issues where everything goes silent.
Interesting. If you end up needing me to help call you in, just let me know.
Yes, I called in, and that's I had that problem last meeting too, but I'll try to get through.
Okay. And then please note for the record that Trustee Apt is absent.
Thank you very much, Miranda. Thank you everyone for coming out to join us on a cold and snowy Tuesday night. Well, come out to join us virtually, of course. We will move forward. We have a number of items on the consent agenda, 5 in fact. Do any members of the Board of Trustees have questions or comments regarding any of these items on the consent agenda?
This is Trustee Taylor. I have a comment regarding the employee manual.
Go right ahead.
All right. On page 33, there is a bullet point that starts with written threats, profanity, vicious cartoons. Miranda, are you able to find that? Page 33.
Of the packet.
Of the packet, yes. I would like to propose a change to that bullet point on page 33.
Sure. Go ahead. What would you like to see it changed to?
All right. It is a single bullet point that says this: written threats, profanity, vicious cartoons, notes, or other written or symbolic conduct. The last part of that seems to indicate any kind of activity that anyone could do with a pencil. Therefore, I would like to propose this be broken into 2 bullet points. The first one, written threats or profanity. The second one would be cartoons, notes, or other written or symbolic forms of expression having a violent or demeaning content.
What?
Hello, this is Dawn. Is anybody there?
Yes?
Yes, we can hear you, Dawn.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Miranda, were you able to get that?
Oh yeah, it's having to record. I'm having to help some people get on the meeting, so I didn't have it written down, but we're recording, so I will have it.
So I've recited it. It is written. It is read into the record. I will be happy to send you a written copy of what I propose.
Could you do that? That would be great. I'd
Yes.
appreciate that. This is Karen.
Just an attempt to make it more clear.
Sure.
That was my only comment.
That's fine.
So we would have, we're basically having a friendly amendment to the employee manual to adjust that 1 bullet point according to Trustee Taylor's suggestions. If any other trustees have concerns with this, comments, further additions on this item or any of the other matters on the consent agenda, please speak up now.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve from Trustee Danforth
I would second that.
and a second from Trustee Coombs Ismail. Miranda.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes.
Mayor Larson.
Yes.
Trustee Danforth.
Yes.
Trustee Corbelin.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Consent agenda passes. Thank you for the additions and modifications, Trustee Taylor. Moving on to public comment, we have one item that is in the packet regarding last week's discussion regarding Big Springs egress. But now would be the opportunity from anyone from the public who would like to speak on any matter that is not on tonight's agenda. You can have 3 minutes. Simply state your name and whether or not you are a town resident. And I know we have one member of active town staff, but also public who would like to kick this off, beginning with Don Baumhover. Who is now on mute.
Don, you may have to press it. I believe it's *6.
There we go.
All right, am I there?
Thank you, Don.
Okay, so having a few computer problems, of course, right as we begin the meeting. But I am coming before you to ask permission to apply for a collaborative grant with the Nederland Food Pantry and the Nederland area seniors in the amount of $100,000. This opportunity was just come across this morning. And so that's why I'm coming before you tonight to ask permission to do so according to our town rules. This is from the same source of funding that the grant was received from the community center earlier in the year. So it doesn't require matching funds, and the funds that are awarded, if they were to be awarded, are unrestricted. I'm sorry. Any questions? The summary is, I believe you have it.
And I think the reason we're bringing this forward during public comment and looking basically for a nod of 4 from the Board of Trustees to direct Dawn and the Community Center to apply for this is because the deadline is actually this Thursday. It is very short notice, but obviously a very timely grant opportunity. So Board of Trustees, I'm going to just go down the list and because we're doing this during public comment because we couldn't figure out the best place to do it. We didn't want to have to wait on a grant opportunity to the very last thing in the meeting tonight. So I'm going to just go down the list. Beginning with Eric Coombs Ismail, do you agree that the community center should pursue this grant opportunity?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Danforth.
Absolutely.
Trustee Corvallin.
Yes.
And I do as well. Dawn, I know you and I have been exchanging emails, and I'll help you with that letter and get that signed. And best of luck with this. I know, and also best of luck to the partner organizations on this. I think it's a great opportunity. And thank you for chasing this down on such short notice.
And thank you so much for including me in the agenda tonight. I appreciate it.
We will now. Yep. Thank you, Dawn. But we will now open this up for any other public comment on non-agenda items. If anyone from the public would like to speak, you can have 3 minutes. Simply start speaking, raise your hand, turn on your video and start waving your cat in front of it. Something to catch my attention.
So I know Rick Hendrickson wanted to make an announcement.
All right, Rick, can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. The floor is yours.
Well, we kind of have some good news from the fire department here. Some of you may know that every 10 years, fire departments get rated by an insurance group that decides through their rating process some kind of they give a rating number for the fire department's effectiveness based on a whole bunch of things, everything from communications to water supply to training and all that sort of stuff. And we just finished ours, and the rating scale goes from 1 to 10, 10 being virtually no fire department, 1 being probably the very best of fire departments. We have, for the last 10 years or so, in town been a 5, and in the unincorporated areas outside of town been in what they call an 8B, which is just minimal fire protection. Well, our rating just came out and it's dropped to a 4 in town and a 4 in the unincorporated areas, unless you're more than 5 miles from a fire station, and there's only maybe 2 houses that are outside of that at the very top of 4th of July Road. But everybody else is going to see this lower number, and it takes a little while for it to filter through the system, but folks should start to see a reduction in their homeowners insurance rates because of this. So that's something pretty exciting. We just heard about it yesterday and wanted to pass that along.
Well, thank you very much for passing on. That is definitely exciting news, and congratulations to yourself and everyone at the fire department who's been working so hard to achieve that.
Well, thanks. And we've already, some internally in a little town, and looking at picking it all apart and figuring out how we can do better next time. So, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. Any other members of the public want to follow up on that exciting news with further public comment? I am not seeing or hearing anyone further, so we will move on with our agenda to our one informational item for this night, which will be introduced to us by Miranda regarding the 2020 holiday season and what's happening around town.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to share with the board and the public just some of the fun things happening. Obviously, with COVID, a lot of normal holiday events have been canceled, but we've come up with some creative ways to still bring holiday cheer. So the first is just a quick shout out to the DDA who provided us $5,000 from their special events fund, which allowed us to purchase some lights and lighting displays. That if you start to head around town, you'll see them. They're going up on the visitor center, the driving bridge, the pedestrian bridge, town hall. So as they get those installed, we'll have them lit up in no time. Another thing you'll start to see is candy cane displays. And so it's 3 candy canes wrapped together with some lights around them. And so we're kind of sprinkling those throughout town. And so big kudos to Nikki Dunn, who works with Public Works. She's taken the lead on this. And the whole Public Works team has worked tirelessly to really hustle to get some holiday lights up for this season. So kind of in tie into that, normally the Holiday Mountain Market would have happened at the community center, but they had to get creative. And so they moved everything online. And they currently have, over 400 items from local artists and crafters that you can go on and purchase. There's also a silent auction that benefits the Nederland area seniors. So I'm just kind of looking to still promote local and shopping local, just doing it through an online platform. And then also the weekend of the 12th and 13th, there will be a couple of things happening around town. So since we don't have another board meeting, I wanted to just briefly introduce these to you. First is on Saturday the 12th, there will be kind of a meet Santa and Mrs. Claus at the bank. It's in a drive-through setting, so families will be able to pull through and talk to Santa through the bank audio, which will be quite fun. We also will have a candy cane scavenger hunt. So as I was talking about those clusters of candy canes around town, we're encouraging people to go out and see how many they can find, to post pictures on Facebook of maybe them with the candy canes, and through that they'll be entered to win a prize. We're also going to try to do some holiday photo stations in collaboration with the Holiday Mountain Market around town, just to spread some holiday cheer. There will be a thank you note station and drop box for donations for the local firefighters. And then again, encouraging people to really tune into that Holiday Mountain Market and everything that's happening online. Does anyone have any questions about the creative holiday items happening this year?
Miranda, this is Julian. Will Santa Claus be able to change a 20?
I hope so. Who knows?
Okay.
We'll find out. Maybe he'll change a 20 into 100, Okay. So stay tuned, kind of more, again, we're a little bit far away from that event, but stay tuned through Facebook, social media, our website, and keep your eye out for the candy canes and all the lighting that's about to happen.
I was gonna say we're doing a virtual lighting ceremony this Friday. Is that right?
Yeah, so we will live stream, obviously under social distancing guidelines, we won't have the same type of ability to have everyone gather. So we will end up live streaming that on Facebook and then also recording it to upload onto our site, the holiday lighting this Friday. So stay tuned for that.
Any trustees have questions? Other questions for Miranda regarding the holiday events planned around town?
I just want to say it sounds really fun, especially the candy cane counting and that. I think like some kids are really going to get into that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, we're really excited. So again, more information on kind of the contest rules will come out in the next couple of days. So we'll keep everyone updated on that, and we'll email the Board of Trustees, but we'll also share it on social media.
Awesome. Thank you, Miranda. All right, we're going to move into the meat of the evening, which is we have actually 5 action items. And the first one we're kicking off with is probably the most important thing we do as a board every year. And that is consideration of adoption of our 2021 budget, which obviously we've been working on and town staff has been working on for the last few months. And so I'm going to hand this over to our town administrator, Karen Garrity, to introduce the adoption of our budget tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. Here. We've been talking about this budget since September. We've had several public meetings. I think it's better if I don't have my video on just because it gets wonky, so I apologize for not showing my face. But as I was saying, there's nothing new that you're seeing tonight. Everything that we've discussed over the last few months is how we got to where we are tonight. The resolutions that are before you actually represent the budget that has been presented in the hearing and to the public. We did post it for over a month on our website, and we have not gotten any concerns or any negative feedback from anyone in the community. The few questions that we have had from the Board of Trustees, we've been able to answer for folks. And we made any adjustments to the budget that the board gave us direction to do. As we've been talking about since September, it's basically a zero-based budget. We did not increase the operating expenses. Our financial position has improved tremendously in the last few years, especially last year and this year, despite the pandemic. We're continuing to increase the fund balances for all of the town funds, being both the government funds as well as the enterprise funds. We're in a very good financial position. Even though there is a pandemic going on, we are still seeing about a 6.9% increase in our sales tax revenue. Our property tax revenue has come in slightly above what we budgeted. And that's with all of our town departments operating at contingency budgets. We prepared for the worst by reducing all of our expenses, by freezing open positions, by furloughing some of our staff and reducing some hours. And even though, of course, we saw reductions in earned income from places like the visitor center and the community center, because our tax revenue has continued to exceed our expectations, we are in, as we've said, very strong financial position. So again, there's nothing new that you're seeing tonight that you haven't seen already. Everything is the same as what was presented in the public hearing last month. So really tonight is just about taking that final step where you are going to adopt the 2021 budget. You have 3 resolutions in front of you. One that is the appropriations needed to have the 2021 budget put in place, adopted. The second one is for the budget mill levy for property taxes, we need to make a resolution and agree that we are going to collect those property taxes and then use them for both the town and the DDA budgets. And then the final resolution is for the 21 fee schedule that's been presented to both the public and the Board of Trustees for the past month or so, and with an exhibit that just gives all the details. We also included the budget summaries, just in case anybody from the public had wanted to see that if they hadn't had a chance already. So that's what you have before you. And I do want to just thank our town accountant, Rita Six, and our town attorney, Jennifer Matson, for their work together on creating the resolutions and making sure that they align with the statutory requirements. So that's what we have.
Thank you very much, Karen. I'm going to open this up for questions from the Board of Trustees before we go to the public, beginning with Trustee Corvalin. Do you have any questions for Karen or our town treasurer regarding the 2021 budget?
Just one that I think I already know the answer, but regarding the sales tax and mill levy and all that, those are just items that have already been agreed upon, nothing new, correct?
Yeah, it's just every year we have to just make a resolution with the understanding based on the numbers that were given from the county, that we have agreed that we're going to collect these dollars, and we'll be using them, we'll be putting them towards our budget. It's
Okay.
just something we have to do every year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Trustee Danforth?
No, I just want to thank town staff for the hard work they've done on this, and I appreciate all that you've done. So thank you.
Trustee Taylor?
Reading through the packet, I saw no surprises. Excellent work from town staff.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumholzer?
No questions. Just want to echo Julian and Lindsay, and kudos to town staff, especially with the pandemic we've been facing, and all questions kind of what we're looking at in the next year. So good job. Thanks.
And Trustee Coombs Ismail?
Nope, looks good to me. Thanks.
All right. I want to echo what the other trustees have been saying. I want to thank Town Administrator Karen Garrity, our new town treasurer, Rita. This is your first. Thank all the department heads for the work they put into this budget. I know this is a huge effort all the way up and down town staff, and to do so under this year's extra added layers of uncertainty with COVID and what that's going to look like on the budget coming up, or in the revenue streams coming up. I just really want to thank you guys for the hard work you've put in up and down town staff. And I also want to thank our the Board of Trustees. I know we have a number of trustees for whom this is your first experience diving into the town budget. And it is definitely one of the biggest things we handle every year, and it is one of the more complicated things. I know I've been doing this for a number of years, and I still sometimes get turned around trying to figure out what goes where and what we can affect and where we can have an impact. And I want to congratulate all of you guys on the Board of Trustees for diving into this and the incredible questions you've asked, the feedback you've given to town staff. So I just want to thank everyone involved in this, from the Board of Trustees, town staff, town department heads, and also the comments we've gotten from the public that have helped shape this year's budget. So before we move forward, I want to give the public an additional chance to weigh in on the 2021 budget. So if anyone from the public would like to speak for up to 3 minutes regarding this is your opportunity. As usual, somehow catch my attention by speaking or raising your hand and have the floor. I am not seeing or hearing anyone jumping up and speaking. So I will bring this back to the board. And as Karen said, there are actually 3 resolutions. So we'll need 3 motions and have 3 votes for resolutions 2020, 40, 41, and 42 to officially adopt all the pieces of our town Would anyone like to make a motion?
This is Trustee Taylor. I move to approve Resolution 2020-40.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Trustee Danforth with the second. Miranda, please call the vote on 2020-40.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin, Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
2020-40 is passed unanimously. Do we have a motion regarding Resolution 2020-41?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-41.
This is Trustee Taylor. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Miranda, please.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Yes.
Mayor Larson.
Yes. Regarding 2020-42.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-42.
Trustee Taylor. I second.
Miranda, we have a motion and a second. Please call the vote.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth, are you there, Trustee Danforth?
Oh, no, I came back. Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin, Trustee Corvallin. I'll come back. Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin.
Yes.
There we go. Again, unanimous approval. Thank you all so very much for all the hard work. Rita, thank you again. I guess now you get to put together the budget book by the end of January. But again, thank you guys all so much. That's a great thing to have gotten done. Action item number 2, which is a consideration of an SRU application for multi-use building by Wildfire Nature Center. And this one will be introduced to us by Miranda.
And I also have Cynthia here just to back me up in case there are questions. But tonight, what's before you is a consideration of the special review use application for a multi-use building containing a nature center by property owner Wildfire Nature Center. Currently, it's addressed as 0 Peak to Peak Highway, although the official addressing occurs during the building permitting phase. So before I turn it over to Wildfire, specifically Donna, I just want to provide some background information. Most of this is in your agenda item, but this is a 4.93 acre tract that's located in the general commercial zone. There's a wide range of uses in the general commercial, but this property itself is restricted by a conservation easement, which is located in your packet. But in that easement, it stipulates that the property can only be used for an environmental nature center, and it also limits the building structure to a maximum of 8,500 square feet. In the application, you'll note that the proposal is to develop the lot with a principal building that's 8,280 square feet in size and then contains multiple uses to the nature center. And then that remaining 220 square feet would go to 2 small accessory structures, one for a freestanding composting toilet facility and the other for its storage shed. And then together that will come up with the 8,500 that's allowed under the. So again, in the general commercial, there are a series of uses that are allowed by right, which kind of follow, which is on the next page here. But the SRU is needed for the following items, being the private elementary, secondary schools, state licensed group home for developmentally disabled, or a child care center. So in essence, an educational child care. It's also needed for outdoor sales, eating and drinking, or any other outdoor commercial activities or establishments. And then it's also needed for outdoor recreation facilities, including but not limited to tennis courts, play fields, and so that is why this is coming to you as an SRU, even though there are some features of the Nature Center that are used by right. There's some historical information in the AIM about this property. I think it's important to note that in 2018, Wildfire came before the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees to do a minor subdivision. And then again in 2019, these zones were originally zoned as public, but there was a rezone that occurred to rezone it to general commercial. This application as a whole with a narrative and all the information that's in the packet, it does meet the required site plan information. It was also reviewed by town staff, and the property does have the ability to, or town does have the ability to serve it with water, sewer, fire, and police protection. But you'll note in the packet, one of the main concerns kind of from staff was in regards to parking, which I will have Wildfire speak specifically to that. And we'll also note that this did come before the Planning Commission in October, and they too noted that one of their concerns, or they wanted more information on, was on-site and off-site parking. In addition, they were also looking for Wildfire to provide more information to the board about the site lighting plan, the trash and recycling plan, and the location of bike racks, all of which Wildfire will speak to shortly. So I'd like to go ahead and invite Anna Flynn to give a presentation from Wildfire.
Great. Thank you, Miranda. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
We can. Thank you, Donna. Yes.
Okay,
yep,
great.
We can hear you. Thank you.
All right. So my name is Donna Flynn. I'm the head of the building committee for the new Wildfire Nature Center. I'm going to give you just a bit of an introductory overview and then hand it over to Jill Dreves to cover a few things. So we have a few members of our building committee on here tonight. We want to address, cover what we've done to address the Planning Commission's questions for us, and also open it up to any other questions you have. We do have our architect, forward progress for time vision, create a new and permanent nature center for Wildfire, and create this as a valuable community resource and a destination environmental education center. We have pursued a very thoughtful and professional and diligent process for this. This has included community engagement workshops, strategic planning for the nature center, and a robust design ideation process for the vision of the nature center itself. And then we did a competitive bid for architectural firms. We selected ARC 11 in Boulder as our architecture and design partner. And they have brought together a robust multidisciplinary team to help us to get us to where we are today with the design. We are now in the midst of a capital campaign. Our goal is to start construction next spring with an anticipated move-in date of October 2022. We met with the Planning Commission on October 28th and had some great discussion over the plans and the possible impacts on the community. Based on that discussion, we also submitted an addendum to the application, and I just want to briefly review what we have addressed in that addendum. So there was quite a bit of discussion over parking. We have updated the design of parking in the Nature Center to have 33 permanent spaces. In the addendum, we point out that this is more than enough for the daily and weekly and weekend programs at Wildfire, and it actually exceeds the number of parking spots at the Mud Lake Center, as well as the Caribou Ranch open space. However, we do anticipate some special events, as you are all aware of the Enchanted Forest and Wild Earth Day types of events that Wildfire hosts. And in those, we are procuring agreement from Peter Fiore, Caribou Room, to use their parking lot for overflow for these special events. We do have verbal agreement from him I don't think we have the written agreement as of tonight, but I know we do have verbal agreement, and we will get that written agreement as soon as possible. We also have thought really deeply about the bus parking and have plans in place for buses for all the different programs, weekday, weekend, special events. And so we feel like we have a really robust plan for managing all the parking impacts. In addition, we do intend to have bike racks on location, and we would also love to work with the town to highlight walking paths up to the land from town, from the community center. And for special events, in the past, Wild Bear has used alternative shuttle transportation, and that will continue to be an option in the future. In addition, we addressed the lighting concerns. We have every intent to support dark sky lighting on the land and ensure that we are abiding by all the county and town dark sky guidelines. For trash and recycling, the Wild Bear staff intends to manage trash and recycling removal by themselves on a daily, weekly basis to the green boxes. And then for signage, we have specific criteria laid out in the conservation easement that we will abide by in terms of signage being on site and also town signage. So we feel like we addressed all those concerns in that addendum, but we would love to hear any other questions or concerns that the Board of Trustees might have. And we have the whole team here to address those questions as you wish. But first, I want to hand it over to Jill to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Donna. She's an incredible leader to our committee. I don't know when, Miranda, were we showing that video after I speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I just wanted to add to Donna's comment about trash. We will have bear-proof trash cans, of course, out there, bear-proof receptacles. You know, this is a long-term vision. We're really proud of all the great work we're doing as a committee, as a volunteer group and staff and board. And we've had a really great process since October of last year to bring our vision to a point of real address of all the things that we want to provide to the area. You know, it's really important. We have so many visitors to our community, so many people that want to be out in nature, and so many people that have no idea what to do and how to treat, be good stewards. So we're excited to really become a landmark in Nederland for the Boulder County regional community, serving not just the locals, but our visitors. So our vision is, I think, more important today than it ever was, you know, in terms of history. I know that you probably all know about our preservation of Mud Lake with Boulder County and town of Nederland, and removing 30 tons of trash from that 260 acres and now having 3,200 acres and 16 miles of trails. There can't be any other place to have such a powerful message to the world. So I want to turn it over to Miranda to share our vision with you. Is the volume?
Can you hear that?
No. Can you turn it on?
It is on. So I'm wondering
Can
if
everybody
that's...
hear it?
No, we're not hearing any audio. We're just seeing the.
We can see it though.
Well, yeah, but we need the audio.
I'm wondering if that's the same issue as last time. I'm sure.
Darn it.
Let me, here, give me like 2 minutes. I think I might be able to resolve that.
Technology is the enemy.
Yes, it's a curse and a blessing all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, do you have a way of quickly texting me that link? Because when I search it like in YouTube, because if I play the audio off my phone, you'll be able to hear it.
Yes, let me just do
Okay.
that instantly.
Thank you.
I'll do my best instantly. Thank you all for your patience. I think it's important to really get the full vision of what we are planning, because we really want you all to understand the magnitude of our vision. We worked with our really great committee. Hold on. To really their community vision. Hold on. I'm almost there.
I was trying to search it, but it came up with a lot of other videos.
Come on. I don't think I've ever, I'm getting close. I wish we'd tested it. Okay, here we go. Okay. I have the,
Oh, Cynthia just sent it to me. We are good. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, so I'm going to play in two different, so we're still close. Okay. All right, give me one.
Can you train it all or two?
Yep.
There you go.
This journey begins on a walk on the path from the nature playscape through a xeriscape natural area, heading to the south-facing patio at the entrance of the Net Zero Wildfire Nature Center. Children can climb on the rocks and families can enjoy a picnic and observe the sun and listen to the sounds of nature and the fresh air before or after enjoying the experiences inside.
Oh. I just lost it.
From the main entrance, you can see all the way through to the back exit entrance. Walking in, the visitor can enter the We Are Nature Hall, hands-on interactive exhibits highlighting our place in nature. We are air, we are earth, we are water, we are fire, we are animals. As we walk past the gift shop, we find the public programming space where 200 people can enjoy a live program. And at the back of the public program space, you can see the wildlife viewing window where visitors can relax and watch for signs of wildlife. Head up the stairs or take the elevator to the observation deck. This space can double as an outdoor classroom. Visitors can enjoy the night sky with no light pollution, or use the spotting scopes to spot the hawks or identify the mountain region where Boulder's water comes from. The site is at the entry point to a 3,200-acre preserve known as Mud Lake and Caribou Ranch open spaces. And it includes 16 miles of trails at 8,250 feet in elevation. As we return to the main floor, walk past the registration desk, pick up a self-guiding booklet, bring along on the trails, or ask questions about upcoming programs. Look down the hall to the workspaces for volunteers and staff, and look down to the classrooms below, where there's a maker space, large classrooms that can be made smaller, south-facing windows for botany exploration. Wildfire Nature Center is located on the Peak-to-Peak Scenic Byway with easy access up via Boulder Canyon. A half-mile interpretive discovery trail loops around the building and ends up at the nature playscape, which stretches the entire eastern boundary of the property line. Back inside, the space below holds classrooms, as well as all of the energy systems in space for storing educational materials and snowshoes. Head out the back door to the northern patio, which leads to the and trails. If you look up, you can see the observation deck. Walk a little further and find the outdoor classroom and amphitheater. And people of all ages can enjoy an evening program, where the schools can bring their classrooms up to enjoy a snow school program with scientists before heading out on snowshoes to winter ecology or study the water at Mud Lake. If you head down to the east side of the building, where it will be native landscape for low water consumption, you will see the entrance to the education space for children and adult programs facing the nature playscape, where children can create, build, play, and climb in nature as families relax and enjoy walking with friends in the fresh mountain air. Join us today on our journey to bring this long-time vision to fruition. Now more than ever, we need nature and nature needs us. With your support, Wild Bear Nature Center will connect people with nature for generations to come.
Thank you, Miranda. So that's our vision. Currently, we're out there all the time with our kids as we're serving our community with our online education. Wild Bear's providing a lot to our children in the community. They're out on the escape, and we're integrating outdoor education into their lives with a lot of free and reduced programming. So anyway, that's I think what we have to present.
Well, thank you very much, Jill, and thank you as well, Donna, for the presentation. Thank you also.
Was Ryan sharing next, or did I just cut that off?
No, Ryan's here for a Q&A.
Okay, Ryan is our architect.
Okay. Well, I was going to say thank you to everyone associated with Wild Bear who's joined us this evening. I know this has been a long process. I've been part of this for many years now, and it's exciting to see it moving forward, Jill. I'm really excited. I just also want to thank you for addressing the questions raised by the Planning Commission in advance. And I want to now open this up to members of the Board of Trustees who might have additional questions before we go to public comments. So I'm going to open this up to board members, starting with Trustee Coombs Ismail.
I'm super excited about this, and I can't wait for it to be built.
Short and sweet. All right, Eric. Trustee Taylor.
Yeah, I read through the packet and it seems very thorough, Jill. Wonderful job on the part of you and your team and the architects. I'm very excited about this, and I too have been kind of watching this as it's moved along, and this is a very exciting opportunity.
Thank you.
Trustee Corvalin.
I'm also super excited, and I can vouch that Wild Bear has been amazing, even how it's been, so I can only imagine once it's done at the Wild Center, and really excited.
Trustee Danforth.
Yes, as someone who's been involved in this for a number of years, since 2017, I've watched this move along, and I'm really impressed with where you guys are right now with everything. So thank you for all the hard work with this, and I'm just excited to see this get built. So thank you.
That's great.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumover.
Just have to echo what every other trustee has said. Just really exciting to see all the work and this awesome vision kind of coming to fruition. So, yeah, amazing work to all the Wild Bear staff and awesome video.
We'll send you a link so you guys can watch it outside of this so you can see it really.
That was going to be the one ask I had of you, Jill, was to send us an email with that link in there so we can see it on a nice big monitor, because that is a beautiful looking facility you guys have designed. And hats off to Arch 11 and the architects for doing that. That looks like it's going to be an incredible asset to Mud Lake and to all of Nederland.
Mayor Larson.
And the board, the link is actually right here. It's attachment number 7.
There it is.
That's right. I
Great.
was about to mention that.
There we go. Awesome.
And just let me add too, if I can, I just want to really commend our volunteer committee. Really, I'm just along for the ride at this point. I don't deserve any credit at all. I have to say that our volunteers in our community are exceptional. Donna's an incredible leader. Hillary Katz, Dorothy Whalen is on there, and really, it's been a really huge volunteer-driven process with our team. So, and I also want to add that it's a hefty capital campaign goal, and we are moving along. We have an incredibly active capital campaign committee. We're working with consultants to raise the funding, and I just know that our community is going to be so proud of the work that our community is accomplishing for the region.
I will open this up to the floor to any members of the public who would like to comment on this, as this is an action item. You'll have 3 minutes to speak on the wild bear. Raise your hand or speak up. And I see we have one hand raised already from Ms. Chipai. Kathleen, you can unmute yourself. Or potentially an hands up. Anyone else from the public like to weigh in? Hearing and seeing none, we'll bring this back to the board. For any further last thoughts or comments from the board of trustees, or we actually right there in the middle of the screen, we have a suggested motion. Should any member of the trustees like to make that?
I'd motion to approve resolution 2020-43.
We have a motion from Trustee Coombs Ismail. We have a second.
Taylor? Trustee Taylor, I second.
There we go. A motion and a second. Miranda?
Just wanted to just confirm if you are approving without any conditions, as is.
Correct.
Okay. Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail?
Yes.
Trustee Danforth? I think that was a yes. Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover?
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin? Trustee Danforth, I just want to confirm I got you. It might have been feedback. Are you a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations, Wild Bear. Unanimously approved SRU. We look forward to the next steps and looking forward to that groundbreaking in a couple of years. Thank you guys so much for all the work you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Best of luck.
Our plan is to be moving in October 2022.
Yep.
So we really appreciate the town of Nederland's extremely supportive efforts to make this happen. It wouldn't happen without it. All the generosity. Your staff is incredible. So thank you. The planning commission process has been very positive. And we encourage all of you and the community that's here to get involved in any way that you would like. So just reach out to me. And thank you again.
Congratulations.
Everyone.
This is Cynthia. Congratulations, Jill. You'll be out of my hair for land use, and now we can now do building construction fun.
Yeah, that'll be next week.
Party tomorrow on that, Cynthia.
And I have one more thing to add.
Congratulations, Wow Bear team.
I have one more thing to add. So the Boulder County, I reached out to the county given the fact that the mountain was on fire to the north. And Boulder County is going to be clearing out all the deadwood on the corner of Peak to Peak Highway and CR 128, all down to, towards that entry point to Mud Lake, halfway down, and they'll be replanting. And so working on their plan right now. They're very positive about making that corner revegetate and be a very wonderful fire zone.
Wonderful news.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We are moving on to our next action item, which is a very fitting segue there from Jill. This is wildfire risk mitigation and a grant on behalf of the town to do so on our own properties. Miranda, would you please tell us about this?
Yes. So I actually did upload this packet again yesterday because we're interested in two grants, both specific to mitigation. So what we have before you is the 2020 Forest Resilience Wildfire Mitigation Grant, as well as the Community Foundation Boulder County 2020 Fire Relief Fund. The hope is that in the combination between the two grants, we can receive funding to do mitigation efforts in some of the town pocket parks, and then also to be able to work with the Nederland Fire Protection District to establish an educational program where residents can learn how to mitigate their own properties. The 2020 Forest Resilience and Wildfire Risk Mitigation Grant does require a 25% match. So kind of given limited funding, our plan was to focus on some of the smaller pocket parks, such as Flaherty, Tom Riley, Angel, and Tilden. And then if funding allows, we can move on to some of the larger spaces like Big Springs and Doe Trail Park. In the packet, we did include a Town of Nederland asset list where we added a column, and Rick Hendrickson had gone through and really indicated what are the mitigation needs. There are some that kind of are quick mitigation and then some that are going to require much more work. So we kind of want to start small given the funding. Again, we want to do this in partnership with the Fire Protection District, and where they really can step in is doing some of this ongoing education. Kind of the hope is that if we start doing town property, it will really inspire homeowners to start to work on their own properties. Being able to provide them kind of a showcase of how to do their own fire mitigation is really what we're hoping to accomplish out of the educational component. These grants are due quick. So the Community Foundation one, the 2020 Fire Relief Fund, is due Monday. And then the Forest Resilience and Wildfire Risk Mitigation is due next Friday. So that's why we're bringing this forward as an action item. Again, to kind of go over the financial for the Wildfire Risk Mitigation Grant, we're looking to request upwards to $50,000. We're hoping to use up to $10,000 from the Collective Trust Fund, and then also do some in-kind staff support from town and the fire department. In terms of the Fire Relief Fund, as I understand it, there is no match required. They have raised $521,000. Obviously, we're not asking for that. We would only be eligible for about 10% of the funding that's available. So I'm in contact with that foundation to get a better idea of what we can request, but the goal is to combine the two funds. Again, because these grants really did just kind of come into our world, we are still piecing together some of the financial components prior to the grant being submitted. So we are asking the board if you give us the approval to continue to move forward to keep fleshing out these grants to apply for, again, both of them to do wildfire mitigation. And I would invite Rick if there's anything else you feel like we should add for the board to consider.
Yeah, just one thing really. On the list that Miranda provided with the added column with fire mitigation, that's a really quick drive through the parks a couple days ago, take a quick look at them with a really broad brush. It's not any detailed, it's not a plan specifically, it's just to kind of give us a rough idea of how much work some of those are going to take. Do have a mitigation coordinator from the 4 Mile Fire Department coming up probably later this week to take a drive around and take a look at those parks. This is something he does for a living and has a lot more experience than we do locally to help kind of firm that up a little bit and also get some idea of what it's going to cost so we can include that in the grant. That's all for me.
Well, okay. Thank you guys so much. I'll kick off the questions here because I have one right for Rick based on what you were just talking about. Looking around town at the parks, and this is the work that was needed. The one that stands out to me is certainly the Wingate property as sort of the largest piece and probably the most expensive. Is that part of what's going to get assessed by the formal assessment, and an idea of what it will cost us to mitigate that property?
Yeah, we'll certainly look at that one, but you're right. That's going to be the big one. But part of that, we can get a rough idea of mitigation, but until the town really decides what they're going to do with that property, there's only a limited amount we can do. If you're going to put trails in there, maybe connection over to Forest Service or some kind of facilities, that would change the mitigation. So that one's probably for a little while down the line.
Yeah, I didn't think it, certainly I don't think it fits within the budget of either of these grants or anything like that. And we obviously haven't had a discussion on what that property's future will be. But I'm just curious, because that is kind of not only is it the largest piece in town that needs mitigation, it's also probably one of the most vulnerable leading into Big Springs as it does. So I was just curious if there's going to be some kind of assessment made of it so we have some idea how quickly we need to start thinking about that property and working on it.
Yeah, I agree completely. We'll definitely look at it, and I think it's never too soon to start thinking about what to do there.
All right. Thank you very much. It looks like a great grant opportunity to me, both of them. I know that we just had the wildfire assessment done here at our house and are looking at all the work that we have to do next year. And I really like this idea of town leading by example by doing what we can with the properties we have, so that we can try and get the town as protected as possible before we move into the next fire season.
If I could add one other thing there. As I've been around fires kind of around the country over the years, a lot of times I hear people asking, well, I'm doing this around my house. What is the city, county, state, feds doing on their property? So I think this is really a good way to show that we are doing something, and we're trying to be proactive and help that education process and that motivation.
And Mayor Larson, I wanted to make one correction. So in the AIM, I said that the 10,000 for the wildfire risk mitigation would come from the collective trust fund. I meant the conservation trust fund.
Okay. I was wondering what that one was. I hadn't heard of it before, but conservation trust fund. Very good. Good use for it for sure. So I'm gonna open this up for any questions the Board of Trustees has for staff, and I'm gonna just try to call in random order here, beginning with Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer.
No questions, just continually surprised by all the grant opportunities staff has found and other members of our public have found to go at all these amazing opportunities. So happy to see all the work being done, and we'll be glad to see what you guys do with the little pocket parks. It's good to see them being called out and more attention being paid to them.
Indeed. Trustee Corvallin?
Hi, sorry. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I hope you guys get the grant.
All right. Trustee Coombs?
I think this is a good opportunity. I'm just wondering, the parks that were listed in the AIM as the ones that would be targeted are Florida, Tom Riley, Angel, and Tilden. Would it be better to target just one that needs a lot of work rather than, as I see listed here, a lot of those parks don't need much work done. It says minimal work. And I'm just wondering, would we be better served targeting an area that had a lot of lodgepole that needed to be cleared?
I think we're definitely looking for the mitigation experts to come out and give us both the estimate of cost and their recommendations. Kind of the initial thought was to maximize the funds because it's not a lot of money we can ask for. I definitely recognize the kind of the benefit of tackling a large space, and I think we've just been looking to the experts to give their thought on that. Rick, do you have?
Very good. Sorry.
I don't have anything to add.
And then just the other question, well, not really question. I just want to make sure that when we do, if we do get this grant, which would be great, and we do this mitigation work, I just really want to reinforce the idea that we turn it into an educational opportunity for the community, and that we don't just kind of do it under the radar, and that we really make an effort to get people out there and maybe even participate.
Yes, we agree. We really want that education piece to be just as front and center as the mitigation effort itself. And that's really where our collaboration with the fire department comes into play, just because they'll be able to, you know, it's kind of like Saws and Flaws. It's obviously not around anymore. And so it's a spin-off of that, but really providing that community education and encouraging people to do it, and then mirroring that town is already taking that step to do it at our pocket parks.
Thank you.
Trustee Taylor.
My questions have been answered. I'm quite satisfied with this.
All right. And Trustee Danforth.
Yeah, I've got one question. What are the plans for the wood and fuels that are being removed? How are they being discarded?
Well, part of the grant actually requires that you contract with organizations and or our personnel who can take it away, and so that may be cut down to turn it into firewood, but you have to contract with someone to do the removal.
Okay, because yeah, I was wondering if there would be a way to give away the wood to people in need around town who, you know, in the winters heat their homes only with a wood burning stove. I know that I live close to some people that require wood to burn to stay warm throughout the winter. So this could be an opportunity to also help our citizens.
Yeah, and I think in the agreement that is made with kind of the local representatives who will haul away, that can be potentially, or you know, a requirement that then it's used for, you know, maybe that more of that social component and going to families or persons who need it. But it is a part of the grant itself that there is proper removal and use of the slash and what is left over from the mitigation.
Excellent. Yeah. I just would love to see it go to use in town to people who need it, who can't afford to buy, you know, their own firewood. So I think that's great, and that answers my question.
Thank you, Lindsay. This is an action item, so before we bring any motions to the table, let's open the floor up to the public. If anyone from the public would like to speak on these wildfire mitigation grant opportunities, now would be your chance. Again, as usual, speak up, raise your hand, and you can have the floor. Ms. Chipeye still has her hand up. I think it hasn't gone down from the previous item. I'm not seeing or hearing anyone else chiming in. So we'll bring this back to the Board of Trustees for any final comments or possible motions. Do we have any motions approving town staff to apply for the wildfire mitigation grants from the Forest Resilience and Community Foundation funds?
Make a
motion to approve.
I heard Trustee Coons' mail with a motion to approve. Was that Trustee Danforth with a second? Oh, Trustee Taylor has a second there.
I second.
All right.
Mayor Larson.
Yes.
Trustee Danforth.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Yes.
Trustee Corwin.
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes. All
right, very good, and best of luck in the application. We look we're excited and look forward to hearing the results and hopefully seeing the projects get started next year. And now we have another grant opportunity, this time the Boulder County Economic Vitality Program. This is one we've had good success with in the past. So Miranda, please, what's this year's?
Right. Well, thank you for the last grant. So this one, Boulder Economic Vitality, it's actually the exact same. So for the 2020 grant, the town received $6,000 to use to buy PPE and develop online stores for local businesses. That was in response to COVID. The original grant that we submitted was very different, but the Boulder County had decided to do a switch and make sure that all the funding goes to COVID type related expenses. And in the grant itself, you'll see that it's relatively similar. So in talking with their representatives, this is not the type of grant that you can use like the $150,000 we got. We can't just request money to then pay it out to businesses. We really ideally need to be providing something. So the thought is to request $20,000 to purchase even more PPE, anywhere from hand sanitizers to masks and gloves and cleaning supplies, all the things that the businesses really need. And I know they're running through very quickly, and it takes a lot of their budgets to purchase all these items. So the thought was to purchase them for them and then be able to distribute them as we have done to date. Again, we are also just made aware of this grant, and it is due on the 16th, which is why it's coming before you as an action item. And so I'm just kind of looking for feedback and/or approval to move forward with applying for the grant and asking for that $20,000 for PPE.
All right. Any board members have questions for Miranda about this year's grant application? Trustee Taylor?
No, seems fairly clear to me.
Okay. Trustee Danforth?
So great. I think we should go for it.
Trustee Corvallin?
Yes, sounds good.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover?
Another great grant opportunity.
And Trustee Coombs Ismail?
Let's get it.
All right, I agree. This is an action item, so I will open the floor up for any members of the public who would like to weigh in on this grant opportunity and what we're applying for. Raise your hand or speak up. Again, not seeing or hearing any, I will bring this back to the board for a potential motion for town staff to move forward with the application.
This is Trustee Taylor.
This.
Go right ahead.
All right.
Eric.
I don't know what happened.
Eric, make the motion.
I motion to approve town staff pursuing this grant opportunity.
Do we have a second?
I second.
I will second.
Oh, Trustee Taylor gets in there under the gun.
We've got
Miranda.
a third.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Another unanimous vote and motion. All right. Moving forward, this next one is one that was brought forward before this board at our last meeting by Trustee Apt, who unfortunately could not join us this evening because he was going to introduce it. He has been working over the last couple of weeks to draft a letter to the Boulder County Commissioners regarding Gross Reservoir, or the Gross Reservoir's potential expansion plans. Nederland has weighed in on this with the county in the past, always coming down on the side of no expansion. And the letter that Trustee Apt has drafted before us tonight is continuing in that thread. I know there are some questions regarding the status of this application and the 1041 application before the county, and whether or not that has any chance of being overturned or not. There's been a lot of discussions between Trustee Apt, Gary Walkner, and other members of the community and people who have been very involved in this process that have come down from what I've seen to saying that this is still not yet a done deal. And so the letter was written with the intent of weighing in on behalf of the town of Nederland against the Gross Reservoir expansion. Well, I see, actually, I just saw the camera come on. Gary has joined us. Gary Walkner, welcome. In lieu of Alan being here, hopefully, if you can give us a few words on this or weigh in a little, give me some ideas. Hopefully I haven't too badly misconstrued the content of the letter or the current situation.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Gary Walkner. I'm the director of Save the Colorado. We're working hand in hand with the environmental group, which is the neighbors group around Gross Dam, and of course, many of the neighbors there in Nederland. The Denver Water has put in their application to Boulder County to get a 1041 permit for the Gross Dam expansion. The county had an initial public comment period, and there's several stages of this public comment period. And the first one is about referral agencies. And so there'll be more chances to public comment in the future. But and that initial public comment period was over 10 days ago, but it got extended through December 17th. So there's still an opportunity for anybody to comment, and there'll be more opportunities in the future, but it's still an opportunity for the Nederland Town Board to get your comments in to the county. And this goes to not only the commissioners, but also to the county staff, especially, because they are the ones who are considering the initial stage of the application. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If anybody has any questions or concerns or providing input you like.
Thank you very much, Gary. I will open this up to board questions regarding questions or comments. Questions for Gary, comments regarding the content of the letter. If Miranda, maybe you can scroll up to, I believe the letter is the next page. And we'll just begin with Trustee Corvalin.
I think it's a great letter, and I fully support the message. I think we need to do everything we can to stop this from happening. And if there's anything more we can do, I would love for anyone to give us direction on that too. Thank you.
Yeah, quick response to that. This is the initial stage of the public comment period. There will probably be one or more opportunities to comment over the coming months. This will play out for a while now. And then there will be hearings in front of the county commissioners. And then the county commissioners, get the final say in whether to grant the permit or deny it. And I think it's very important that, that the town board of Nederland, because, many of our supporters and followers are community members there in Nederland, and I know that they would love to have the town board weigh in. Anyway, I think it's important that the town board do weigh in, because then, of course, that gives you standing if you want to take any kind of action in the future, depending on how the commission, however the commission decision goes. So it's great to have your foot in the door and have standing in the process.
Thank you for all your work.
Trustee Danforth?
I don't have any questions at the moment.
Trustee Taylor?
I think the letter is very well formed and clearly states our opposition to this action. I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
Happy to see some of the concerns addressed and be a little bit more aware of exactly what is still happening to try to fight this. I still have my concerns, but I do believe it is our job to voice our opposition to this project and whatever we can to potentially fight it. So glad to see the work and all for sending this letter in.
Okay. Trustee Coombs Ismail.
I think this is a good continuation of our opposition to this project, and I hope that we continue to oppose it moving forward.
Agreed. Yeah, thank you again, Gary, for calling in and fielding questions tonight. I would want to echo something that Tanya brought up to begin with is what more can we be doing? I mean, you know, we can write these letters as a town, as town board and such, but you know, and I think it is very important, like you said, it gives us stand actions. But I think anything we can do in the future, you know, please let us know whether it's the town board or if it's more of a action on behalf of members of the town and the community. If there's something more that can be done that we can help facilitate as the town board, I think that'd be a wonderful thing to know, either from yourself or through Trustee Apt, who is obviously very passionate about this project.
Yeah, and I'll make two quick comments. One, and you as town board members, you may know this already, but the 1041 permit process is what's called quasi-judicial. And I know you guys probably occasionally sit as quasi-judicial, and you know what that means. And so the reason why the Boulder County Commissioners have never publicly said or stated anything about this project and their position on it is because they're not allowed to. They have to judge the application when it comes to them, you know, as if they are sitting as judges. And so the interaction, if the county commissioners, you know, really can't talk about it. The interaction has all been with the staff at Boulder County. And so any interaction you might want to have, you can have with the staff. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can certainly reach out to the staff. The staff also is making its own separate comments to Denver Water, and those should be made public soon. And I'm sure those will be extensive. We also created relatively extensive comments that we put in right before the end of the first public comment period. And when the time comes before December 17th, we may submit something else. And, you know, you're welcome to sign on to more comments. And we have a team of scientists and attorneys who are working for us, creating comment letters so that we don't just have standing, but we have, you know, very significant substantive concerns that lay out the process and our opposition to it. You know, the county, of course, has, you know, 1041 regulations. They're very extensive and like 32 pages long. And, you know, we have gone through those, you know, item by item about why we think this application is deficient at this point. So there will be more opportunities to weigh in the future, and I'll be happy to stay in touch with either the mayor or board member Apt about more opportunities to weigh in. And I'm sure you'll all be hearing about it too. So feel free to reach out to me at any time too. And then I just want to be clear too that like the county staff, you know, it's their job to process this application and respond to any and all of your concerns and interests. So, you know, they're there to, you know, to help you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Before we take action on this, I'm going to open up the floor to public comment. If anyone from the public would like to weigh in on the board's proposed letter to the county commissioners opposing the Gross Reservoir expansion, now would be your opportunity. Please raise your hand or speak up. And I am neither seeing nor hearing anything. So I will bring this back to the board for a motion to submit this letter to the county commissioners.
This is Trustee Taylor. I move to approve transmission of this letter regarding expansion of Gross Reservoir to the county commissioners.
And I'll second.
Thank you very much. Miranda, we have a motion and a second.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Thank you everyone and I want to thank Alan for really spearheading this project over the last 2 weeks and drafting the letter along with with Gary, and we will get that into the hands of our commissioners as soon as possible. Moving on, we have two discussion items before us tonight. The first is the discussion about a potential opportunity to lease a new police vehicle. I believe this one will be introduced to us by Karen.
Yes, as well. Thank you, Mayor Larson. So, as you know, part of our discussion with the 2021 budget has also included an analysis of the police department fleet, which is sorely lacking. Most of the vehicles are very old. I believe all of them have at least 200,000 miles on them. Some of them are in need of major repairs. There's questions about their safety. We have never actually purchased a brand new vehicle. So what you all just approved in our budget is $12,500 next year that could be put towards the purchase, lease, whatever, of a vehicle. So Sergeant Jen Feinlevin has been spending a considerable amount of time researching options, talking to other police departments and looking at what other police departments are doing to lease or purchase vehicles. She, based on her research, she came to me maybe a few weeks ago with this idea of a lease with it's a purchase, really. You end up buying the vehicle for $1 at the end of the lease. Working with John Elway dealership, who they're very highly rated. They're this is sort of one of their specialties. And they made an offer basically to Sergeant Jen, who couldn't be here. She's actually in training right now. Otherwise, she would be here. They gave her this offer, which if you look into it, basically what they're doing is discounting the cost of the vehicle as well as all the required equipment that it has to include in order for it to be law enforcement ready. So the discount is for a little over $10,000 towards the purchase of the vehicle and the equipment, which is substantially more than what the interest would cost us over a 5-year lease. The interest is around $4,600. That's actually on the next page. So so once I saw this, I shared it with our town accountant, Rita Six, and she and I analyzed the offer. She really studied the financial figures. She also worked directly with John Elway dealership to get all of our questions answered. We feel like this is a really good way to get the police department a really good vehicle that's safe, that's reliable, that provides all of the equipment that they need. It will fall within our budget. And even though, as we talked, it would be really nice not have to pay interest with the discount that they're giving us. As I said, it more than makes up for the amount of interest we would have to pay. And the way the deal works is that if a year into it, we decide we don't want it, we actually hold the title of the vehicle, and we have an option at that point either to just turn it back into the dealership or to sell it ourselves. And then, as I said, at the end of the lease, we buy it for $1. So we feel very comfortable, especially Rita. She spent a lot of time working and talking directly to the dealership. We feel very comfortable with this. We know we're just bringing it to you now. And even though the offer is supposed to sunset December 9th, they have told us that they would extend that for us if you all need more time to make a decision, and if you wanted us to bring it back to you. So that's the recommendation that we're putting forth tonight.
Thank you, Karen. And in absentia, thank you to Sergeant Feinlevin for doing all that work and groundwork on trying to find this and this program. This is great. Open this up for questions from the town board. We'll just go down the list again. Trustee Coombs Ismail?
Yeah, I'm all for the NPD getting proper vehicles for the fleet, and not having these old ones that need repair. But what I'm really interested in is whether or not this will see a reduction in the total number of vehicles in the NPD fleet by purchasing this vehicle, which is what we did discuss when we were talking about the budget.
Yeah, that is the plan. Absolutely.
Great. So we'll be getting rid of at least 2 vehicles and purchasing this one.
I'll let the town marshal is on the phone and ask if he's decided if it's 2 vehicles that we will be able to retire at this once we purchase this. But that's my understanding.
Larry, you're gonna have to press *6 to unmute yourself.
So board, yeah, Patrol 2 is definitely going to go away as soon as possible. I'm surprised it's not dead, but it seems to keep running somehow. And then the Ford Explorer is also going to go away. It needs several $1,000s of repair, and I just don't see the cost put into it would make sense. I mean, if you look at the numbers on this vehicle, if you amortize it out over 10 years, which our vehicles are all that old right now, 10, 11 years old, you're spending $5,700 a year for a car. So putting that much into a 10-year-old car probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Granted, we did just put some money into Patrol 1, but, I think we can get another good 3 years out of it. I think it was a worthwhile investment, maybe more. So yeah, cars are going to go away.
Great. Just what I was hoping to hear.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer.
No questions. This would be first time we've ever bought a brand new vehicle for our police force, would it not be?
Hey, this is Larry again. I just want to clarify that so that there is no questions. So in 2009, the Ford Explorer was bought as brand new. Obviously, it's 2021 now, almost. So that one has an engine issue that's not worth repairing. And then somewhere down the road, when Chief Adler was here, he did buy a new Dodge pickup, a 3/4 ton. That was just proved to be a poor choice of a vehicle for town. We sold that when Chief Matheny was here. So got out from that, and I think we split some of the revenue with Public Works, as a matter of fact, on that. So, but yes, technically we have bought 2 new police cars since '09 that I know of, and those are the facts.
Sweet, good to know. Well, all for it. I hope you guys get this, and yeah.
Trustee Taylor.
I'm not a huge fan of Chevys, but I think this is a really excellent way of trying it out. The lease to purchase plan, I think, is an excellent plan, and I feel very comfortable with this.
All right. Trustee Danforth.
Just have to echo what the other trustees have said. And I also am in favor of the lease to own. So I think this would be a good thing to move forward on.
Trustee Corvallin.
I'm also in support of it.
All right. Yeah, this is a discussion item, and I will open the floor up to any public comment on the idea of a lease to own option on a new police vehicle. Anyone from the public who'd like to weigh in on this, now would be your opportunity. Please raise your hand or speak up. Not seeing or hearing any, I'll bring it back to the board. This is just a discussion item, so I think based on the comments from, we can, I put this on, sorry, already starting to drag tonight. It's only 8:30. How are we moving through this so quickly tonight? All right, well, we do have the opportunity. It sounds like the board, all 6 members of the board are strongly in support of this. And so we could, if the board is interested, and if there's a motion, move this to an action item this evening so that we can bring it into this year's budget and move it forward with the lease to purchase option and retire Patrol 2 as soon as possible, as the marshal suggested. So I would put this out to the Board of Trustees if there is any interest in moving this to an action item this evening.
This is Trustee Taylor. I move that we convert this an action item.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Miranda, would you please call this vote?
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail, Trustee Corwin. Is that a yes? I think it's yes. Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
and Trustee Corwin. Sorry, I don't know if I was getting you. Is that a yes?
Okay. So this is now an action item before us this evening. And so we would be looking for a motion for directing town staff to move forward with the lease to own option on a new police vehicle, a 2020 Chevy Tahoe.
So moved.
So moved. Have a second?
Trustee Taylor, I second.
Very good. Once again, Miranda, can you please call the vote?
Trustee Corwin, Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Larson.
Yes. We look
Thank
forward
you.
to. Go ahead, Karen.
I just want to say thank you so much, and I'm going to be sure to text Sergeant Feinlevin tonight to let her know.
Please do. We look forward to seeing this new car on the road.
And I'll say thank you to everybody as well, and a lot of hard work that Karen and Reeve put into this as well. So thanks much.
On to the final discussion item for the night, which is an update on the water rate structure. We had asked town staff to look into our town software, our water billing software, and they are coming back with some answers. And, so please, Karen, Chris, this is yours, I believe.
Yep, that's me. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, BOT. So yeah, staff has been discussing utility rates with the BOT now for well over a year, but more in depth this board as it pertains to base rates and usage fees and code definitions and language. At your October 20th meeting, Trustee Taylor had presented to the board some possible definitions to change in code to hopefully clarify language that might be considered ambiguous. And because of these potential changes, it was important to know how they were going to impact billing, and it was important to identify the town's software capabilities as a possible obstacle to making these changes. So you tasked staff to bring back some, to research this and bring back some answers to you guys. Additionally, when considering the change to base fees, it's important to consider the costs associated with staff time and what it costs us to implement these changes. It's also important to note that any change made, as Trustee Taylor pointed out in his statement on the 20th of October, that they should be revenue neutral to ensure that the required revenue exists to maintain system operations at the current levels today. Therefore, staff was given direction to come back to the BOT and report on any deficiencies or incapabilities, I guess, of the software, and then try to predict what the unintended consequences are, if that's possible. I'd actually had Kat McDonald, our billing specialist, create a mock account, and she created a bill and to add tiers to it or change base fees or whatever to see, what it would take to do it and how it sort of interacts with the software and the general ledger and so forth. That brings me to the 3 points of my aim. And also, I'll just add that, all costs to operate the utilities, and maybe this goes without saying, but all costs to operate the utilities paid for by the users collectively. So any changes made or costs incurred are coming from the same pool of users. Everybody's paying into it. So the 3 points of my aim were the third-party costs to implement changes, the staff time, and then again the capabilities of the software. So let me start with the tiered rates. As we dug into tiered rates, it turns out that the software that the town currently has is very capable of doing what are called block rates. So, for example, you could program 1,000, and I'm making this up, but 1,000 to 5,000 gallons would be 0.005 cents per gallon. And then 5,000 to 10,000 could be 5 cents a gallon, and then 10 to 20,000 gallons could be 10 cents a gallon, which is actually pretty expensive. And thereby penalizing heavy users, such as, say, people that irrigate, maybe RTD or the elementary school, and reward conservative users, such as the single person that may live in a single home in Big Springs. And I think that was one of the goals of the board, just kind of more fairly spread out the costs. And then, of course, obviously, if the BOT would like to direct staff to have their rate consultants bring back some options, and that's what we'll do. But as far as the tiered rates are concerned, relatively painless. May only take a few hours to implement, and we can make changes that will be effective across the board within our existing software. Then, as far as base rates are concerned, there was talk about changing base rates. It's more complicated. They would require individual attention to each account, so it'd take a lot more time. Base fees would be charged according to the size of the meter. So the meter is of a certain volume, and a certain volume of water fits through that meter. And so based on the different size meters, there could be a different rate. And while we have, I'm reluctant to say, while we have documentation of every meter in town, we may not, but I think we do. It's on paper. It's not digitally. It's not something that we've had to maintain in the past. As you know, base rates are flat across the system. So it'd be a little bit more time to make changes through this method. And I'll also add that likely 90% of the system are 3/4 inch meters anyway. So we'd probably only be looking at, if there's 800 meters, maybe 80 meters, or 80 accounts rather. Could take 10 minutes an account. Any change to an account that requires individual attention over 800 counts could be quite a bit of time. And I do the math in here in my AIM, and 800 accounts times 10 minutes is 8,000 minutes, and it ends up being well over 100 hours if it really got to be that tedious. But I don't think it needs to be there. The second thing the other thing that we thought about as we were considering changing the structure of rates and what the bill would look like is the actual bill itself, right? So you guys are used to getting this bill here. It's a postcard, and it's actually very efficient. It doesn't require much paper. Requires limited posting. Oh yeah, there's an example of how to read your bill there. We get inquiries all the time about it. But the downside is it's not very comprehensive. You can do the math and you can back into what a gallon of water costs, but it doesn't come right out and say what a gallon of water costs. So we did a little bit of research and we thought, well, what if we went to paper bills? As it turns out, and the other thing is, there's only so many lines you can fit on this piece of cardboard. You can't fit a lot of lines on. As it turns out, though, that the system is not capable of listing out the tiers. We thought, well, maybe we could create a more comprehensive bill for the customer on paper. It would be more expensive and time consuming, but maybe it could list out the tiers and set the rates and have nice, clear line items and a clear, comprehensive bill that any person could calculate on their own. However, it won't do that. And it doesn't matter what paper format that the company offers us. They'll actually look just like this, maybe a little bit fancier than this cardboard bill, but it'll just be on a bigger piece of paper. So we don't really recommend moving in that direction because I don't think you'll get any more out of it. And this really is the most efficient bill you can get. And in the name of the game is to be as efficient as possible because we end up passing that savings on to the customer. So that's the bills, and the cost to contract out. We call the company. They charge $195 an hour to make changes, and I'm not even sure what those changes would be. But for example, if we had to implement changes very fast, we may have to hire and sub out that time in order to complete changes within the quarter. You'd have to do it within the quarter unless you can change the ordinance to allow for more time to pass while changes are being. And I think that's it, you guys. If you have any questions or if I didn't cover any of what you wanted to hear, let me know. I'd be happy to answer some questions for you.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thanks for chasing down a lot of the answers for the questions we'd had. It's exciting to see that, at least we might not have to purchase new software to institute things like tiered rate structures or some of the things we've been discussing as a board. So thank you so much for the work you've put into this. I'm going to throw this open to the board for questions or comments. This is just a discussion item, so we'll be looking for, what future direction to give to town staff tonight. I'll just go middle out here, starting with Trustee Taylor.
So thanks, Chris. This was a very good analysis. I just wanted to make it clear, just so that I'm on the same page as everyone else. All of the rate changes that we're discussing here are changes that would require citizen input and a detailed process. And if I understand correctly, the staff has been proposing that we wait to make any rate changes until after the Raftellus proposal. Is that correct, Chris?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm very pleased that our current software is capable of doing this. I think that's absolutely wonderful because changing software is a nightmare. So this looks like a very positive set of possibilities, opening up our ability to perhaps take charge more meaningful rates based upon effective tap sizes. And so, yeah, that's excellent. No other questions. Thank you very much, Chris.
Great, and I agree. Changing software is a nightmare, and staff's really not interested in putting that kind of time into that unless it's absolutely necessary. So it is good news.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover.
No questions. I guess one question would be, if we went for a tier structured, would we potentially be able to have another program? I know a few years back we had a gardeners program. My only fear with a tiered program would be the potential of making it hard on individuals who garden in town, so that we would essentially be shooting one form of environmentalism in the foot with an attempt to conserve in another.
Chris, may I respond to that?
Sure.
This is Julian. Jonathan, one of the suggestions that the Raftellus folks made that I thought was really, really clever was they mentioned that certain towns, in order to deal with the issue you are describing, would either average in the winter water rates in order to calculate the sewer rate, or they would simply average a series of winter water rates over the past few years and use that for the summer sewage rate in order to avoid gardeners having to pay more for sewer when all they're using is water on their lawn. I don't know if that's the route we would want to take, but that was a proposal made by Raftellus that I thought was kind of cool.
It's definitely good to hear that they're aware and looking at that. I believe that the previous gardeners program was run on a similar type of average system of looking at your winter water usage and applying that to summer. So as long as we're aware of potential issues like that with a tiered system and have means of addressing those, I think this is awesome news, and it's good to hear that our software can do this. And my one suggestion would, if it's not already up on town website, just put this how to read your utility bill up on our town website.
It actually should be. And I'm not exactly sure where it's located, but it should be there somewhere. And I'll also add that, what Trustee Taylor just described actually sounds pretty complicated and difficult to integrate into our billing process, and that maybe there's a simpler way, like a flat fee discount or something could be created to accommodate those gardeners or something like that. The whole changing rates, that's the part that's very difficult, is in these individual changes to accounts.
And Mayor Pro Tem Baumhofer, I wanted to let you know it is on the town website. It's under the pay a bill or fee tab. And if someone scrolls halfway down, it has some tips on how to read your bill. And it's that exact same document that we just shared.
Good to hear. I'll get people there from here on out.
I'm just trying to share my screen. So right here, this is like halfway down on this pay, right here, this pay a bill or fee. You click on that and then scroll halfway down. It's right at the bottom.
All right. No other comments.
Maybe we just slap that right on the top.
We can definitely do that. I can move it to the top.
I will also add, too, that on the back of this cardboard bill, you can see we could add some lines to it. I think you can do about 6 or 8 lines. And if we wanted to, we could add the tiers on the back of the bill so that a customer could still do the calculation on their own and figure out, that their bill is accurate. And it generally is, but it would be helpful and make it more comprehensive for people to understand what they're paying.
All right. Trustee Danforth.
Just want to echo what has already been said, that this is good, that the software is flexible enough to be able to accommodate making these changes. And I'm sure we will come across this again in the near future when we have our rate study completed and we look at making future changes. But I appreciate the time that was spent doing the investigation, and I think this is very important information for us to have. So thank you.
Trustee Corvallin?
Hi, this is also good news. I'm happy to hear it. I had a couple questions. Is there any way to accurately read sewage?
No.
No, not with the new system, not in your new, there was no way to accommodate that?
No, basically what water is coming into your house is a fair reflection of what's going out of your house, aside from what you're consuming and what you're gardening with. But no, there's no way of really measuring.
Okay, so then I do agree then summertime, people should be charged probably winter rates for that reason. So that's something to keep in the conversation. Also, something that the only thing that I personally disagree with was in the last sentence there about staff recommending maintaining current. Staff recommends the current base fee structure and adopting a change to the town's code to accommodate the desire to eliminate extra base fee for single family residences, period, and then increase usage rates to accommodate that difference. I personally disagree that we need to change the usage rate to accommodate that difference in lost revenue. I mean, for reasons we've said in the past, but mainly because those double base fees shouldn't have ever been charged in the first place. So we don't need to make up for something that we've decided isn't fair. But that's just my opinion. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited for this and looking forward to more discussions. Another thing to add, think about, you were saying how a tier system penalize the elementary school. Perhaps there's ways to not charge places like elementary schools or other nonprofits the higher rates for extra usage, considering that they do accommodate so many people in that building. But that's probably for a different conversation later on. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanya. Trustee Coombs Ismail.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I'm glad that it looks like we will be able to make some substantial and probably good changes to our code and still use the same software. Just one, general word of caution or statement of opinion is that while I think it's important that we maintain a certain amount of practicality, I think it's more important that we craft an ordinance that is right for our residents. And while, dealing with this piece of software is going to be part of that, I don't think it should be the entire basis for how we write any new code. So just want to make sure that that's out there.
Understood.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Right. This is a discussion item. I want to throw this open to any public comment wants to weigh in on this continued discussion regarding base fees and usage fees for water and sewer. So if anyone from the public would like to speak, please speak up or raise your hand. Seeing and hearing none, I'll bring this back. And again, just kind of finish with thank you, Chris, for the work you've done in chasing this down. I guarantee this will be fodder for future discussions. Really appreciate answering the questions we asked you guys.
Great.
Chris, this is Julian.
Yes.
I just wanted to note, you've provided good information about the hourly rate of the software company that maintains our software. It might be worth it to just get a quotation from them regarding what they would charge to provide for charging sewer rates that are based on an average winter water rate. It might not turn out to be a very large amount. And if it's not, that it would be something worth considering for the board. It would certainly be a very fair way of charging for sewer. And it struck me as a really interesting idea. And it would be useful information to know how much it would cost us if we were to decide to charge in that way. Just a thought.
Noted. I'll find out.
Barring any other thoughts or comments on this, that is our final discussion item for this evening. Do any board members have any other business or new business they'd like to broach before we call for adjournment?
This is Julian. I'd just like to offer kudos to the staff. Fantastic work, folks, on everything you've presented here. Very impressive work. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll second that. It was a fun meeting tonight.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that feedback.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Trustee Taylor. I move we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Baumhover, second.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover gets the second. Miranda, please call the vote.
Mayor Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baumhover,
Yes.
Trustee Danforth,
Yes.
Trustee Corvallin.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys all very much. Wonderful meeting tonight, and I hope to talk to all of you very soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.